Okay, so I accidentally stopped the broadcast, so I had to make a new one, which is fine. So now there's a part two, and we've gone over the major scale pattern with the semitone between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8, and the natural minor between with semitones between 2 and 3 and 5 and 6. And we looked at the harmonic where we raised the seventh scale degree from the te, the subdominant, the subtonic, to T, the leading tone, and then we raised the sixth scale degree in the melodic ascending from lay to la. And this is just, usually accomplished with adding a sharp. So let's go ahead and look at some key signatures, and then maybe I'll make a couple scales, and we'll go from there. There it is. Okay, here is an example of the same piece of music. This piece is in G flat major, and we made this just to show you how a piece would look without a key signature. Now, essentially what a key signature does is it essentially specifies what collection a performer will be playing in. So if you're playing in the diatonic collection on G flat, you'll be playing with the notes of that G flat scale. If you're going to play in the diatonic collection of C, you're going to play on the white notes. So we can't just say, oh, play on the white notes here. We have to say, play on the notes from the G flat collection. A little water. So if we're playing on the G flat collection, it doesn't make sense to have to notate every single flat. In G flat, there's 6 of them. That's a lot. And as you can see on the example above, they're kind of all over the place. And it would be hard for a performer to read. So we put all of these flats on the left before the after the clef, before the meter indication, and this tells the performer what notes throughout the piece in all octaves are going to have flats. And if we need to change that, we use an accidental, and if the accidental needs to go away, we use the natural sign. So that is consistent. But how do you read these key signatures? And I'll go back and I'll notate a few scales in a little bit, so you get some flavor for that, not just with those note heads. So here is a nice circle of fifths, and I like this graphic because we can see all of the key signatures right away. But I'm going to teach you some, I'm not going to say they're tricks, but this is generally how people remember the key signatures. So for each key signature, first of all, if you have C, you just sort of have to remember that no sharps and flats is C major. But when you're looking at a sharp key, you go to the last sharp. So for instance, in this first one, G, I go to the last sharp. The sharp is F sharp, and I count up a diatonic semitone. Now, we reviewed diatonic and we reviewed semitone. So I need, from F sharp, I'd have up a semitone would be G. So if I came down to the one with 4 sharps, 1, 2, 3, 4, the last sharp is on D sharp. That is, D sharp is the leading tone of this key. So we're going to go up a semitone, diatonic semitone, to E. So for sharp keys, you go to the last sharp and go up by diatonic semitone, and that is your key. If we went to this one with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sharps, the last sharp is an E sharp. We go up a diatonic semitone to F sharp. Now, flats are a little more complicated, but not very much. For major keys and flats, you go to the second flat, second to last flat. So here, I'm going to go down to the one with 5 flats, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and G flat. You count to the second to last flat, and that is your key, D flat. I'll go to the one with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat. Go to the second to last flat, which is G flat, and that is your key. The only one that's tricky is F, because with F, there is no second to last flat. There's just a B flat. Now, if you see the circle of fifths, the order that notes come on the circle of fifths is also the order with hexagonals are added. So see B flat, and then we have E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat. These are the orders with which flats are added. In F major, you just have a B flat, so it's actually the key is actually, if we go back one step on the circle of fifths from B flat, if we had another flat, it would be F flat. So B flat, F. F is, with one flat is F. It's sort of one of those ones you just have to remember. C, nothing. F is one flat. Okay, another topic that some people have a little trouble with is the difference between parallel and relative. Now, relative is like your twin, right? You're going to have all the same DNA, all the same pieces, but maybe your C major and A minor are considered relative, right? They have all the same notes, all the white keys, but A minor is a little sad. It's the sad goth twin, and C major is a little too happy, maybe the cheerleader, or the I don't know, some equivalent. All right, so you have A and C, all the same building blocks go into that, all the same pitches, but they kind of sound, they're different emotional tenors, emotional sounds. So da 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 da, all the same pitches, but one's happy, one's sad, and that's just where it is. And we call them relative because the pitches are the same. Now, parallel scales, they're parallel because they start and end on the same note. So D major, D minor would be parallel because they go from the same place to the same place. They go parallel, but they kind of follow different paths. So D major, ba 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 ba. D minor, ba 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 ba. Right? They start and end on the same pitch, but they have a different affect. So relatives, all the same notes, parallel, start and end on the same pitch. Now, minor keys, the key signatures for minor keys are a little difficult, admittedly. In the same way that C is the white notes, and we count down from C, CBA, to find the white note minor. That's the same process essentially you have to follow with these keys. We're essentially looking for the relative minor. So every major key has a relative minor. That means when we look at a key signature, if I look at a key signature with 1 sharp, the major would be F sharp, the major would be G, right? From F sharp, a semitone up to G. But if we want the relative minor, we have to count down G, F sharp, E. In the same way they counted down C, B, A, G, F sharp, E. And essentially what we're looking at is the submedian, the 6th scale degree of the major is what the relative minor starts on. And it's relative because it has all the same notes. That's why I can have all the same key signature, right? The key signature is the same because they use all the same pitches. Now the minor scales may raise the 6th and 7th scale degree of the harmonic and the melodic minor, but it's the same. So let's look at A. If we have 1, 2, 3 sharps, the last sharp being G sharp, we go up a semitone, and that is A. That would be our A major, and then we can count down A, G sharp, F sharp. F sharp would be our minor. Let's look at for 5 flats, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and G flat. If we look at 5 flats for a major scale, second to last flat is D flat. We are in D flat major. So we go D flat, C, B flat. Now it's not B, it's B flat because there's a B flat in the key signature and we're using all the same notes, right? Because we're looking at the relationship between the major and its relative minor because we want to use the same key signature, and to use the same key signature, we have to use all the same notes. So 3 flats, B flat, E flat, A flat. Second to last flat is E flat. We're in E flat major. We count down E flat, D. Now there's no D flat because there's no D flat in the key signature, and then C, and it's not C flat because there's no C flat in the key signature. So E flat, D, C, C major. And when I count these, I do the trick with the major scales, right? So I go to that last sharp, for instance, like the 5 sharps. I go to the last sharp, B sharp, and I literally count down using the key signature. So B, A sharp, I see an A sharp right in the key signature, and then G sharp because there's a G sharp right in the key signature. So I count down and watch the key signature to make sure those notes that are popping up are also being, those notes in the key signature, those accidentals are also being accounted for in my counting, because I need to find the submediant, the relative minor note to start the relative minor scale on. Okay. So I've kind of blown through a lot of information, and I'm not, am I getting any questions? I am not seeing any questions in particular. So I am going to, I'm going to drift over, or maybe just make, maybe I'll look at some of these later homework ones. That's what people seem to have a little trouble with. So let's look at relative and parallel. Okay. Select the key signature that is parallel to B flat minor. So if it's parallel, it starts on the same note, right? So we need B flat major instead of B flat minor. So if we look down at these key signatures, remember for major scales, we want in flats, we want the second to last flat. The second to last flat should be B flat. So here, this third one down, we have an E flat, second to last flat is B flat major. Okay, the relative major for B flat minor. Ooh, that's, you know, these not simple. Relative major. Well, it's going to have all the same notes, right? So if we have a B flat minor, then we need to, instead of counting down from the major, we need to count up, right? To go from the minor to the major. So like, for instance, instead of going C, B, A to find the major, we want to go A, B, C. So let's see, B flat minor, that would be B flat, C, D flat major. So let's see, which one's D flat major? Second to last is a D flat. That guy, D flat, C, B flat, C, D flat. Oh, sorry. Underneath. So this is major minor. Is this all the same? Let's see. Okay, and then let's look at harmonic functions. I'm tempted to make a couple scales. Let's see, based on the major key signature, what is the harmonic function of the given note? And I give you your options. We're dealing with major in this first one. So let's see, I'm in A major, and I have an E. So if I count up A, B, C sharp, D, E, this is the 5th note of my scale: tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant, dominant. This is the dominant pitch. All right, let's see, what kind of major scale am I in? I'm in all sharps. That's good. Semitone above B sharp is C sharp. So I have, what is D sharp in C sharp major? Well, C sharp, D sharp. It's the second note in my scale, supertonic. Tonic, supertonic. Let's see, here we go. Major key signature, 1 flat. Remember, this is one of those ones you just have to know. 1 flat is F. G is the second note, F, G, so supertonic. And that's all there is to this, but it does get a little bit more difficult when we are in minor, because sometimes people raise the 6th and 7th scale degree. And remember, it does potentially change harmonic function and also the syllables, right? So let's see. Based on the minor key signature, what is the harmonic function of the given note? Well, I start with the major key signature because that's easier. So the major key, second to last flat, A flat. We're A flat major. The relative minor is A flat G, F. So I'm in F minor, and this is D. So F, G, A, B, C, D. We're looking at the 6th scale degree. And remember, we can, when we're looking at the melodic ascending, raise the 6th scale degree. So someone has raised the 6th scale degree from a D flat to a D natural. So this is the 6th scale degree, and that would be the submediant, right? 6th scale degree. Now, that's no big deal. The harmonic function has not changed. But down here, the harmonic function has definitely changed. So major key, B flat, relative minor would be G, B flat, A, G. This is an F. That's the 7th, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, 7th scale degree. And someone has put a sharp on it. So we went from an F to an F sharp. So we went from Te to T, and we went from a subtonic to a leading tone. So this is the leading tone, a diatonic semitone below the tonic in the minor. So, and they've done that essentially to create that sense of forward motion, and it really matters harmonically. And when we look at chords and basic harmony and form in units 5 and 6, you'll see they did that for a very specific reason. And unlike the submediant, we can raise the submediant, but it doesn't change the harmonic function. But if we raise the 7th scale degree, the leading tone, it absolutely changes the harmonic function. Okay. Well, clearly I have been talking a long time. Let's just do a couple scales, or how about one? Let's start on E. E. Let's go up from E. A whole tone. So we still don't know if this is major or minor yet, right? But let's go up from 2 to 3. Let's go up another. Let's go up another whole tone. So E. And then we're going to make a major scale. Let's between 3 and 4. Let's do a semitone. So an A. A and B would be a whole tone. A and C sharp would be a whole tone. C sharp and D sharp would be a whole tone. And then E. Now, if I was going to do a key signature, which I could, I would do F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Remember, last sharp is the leading tone, because we go up a semitone, a diatonic semitone, to find the key. So here, D sharp, E. D sharp is the last sharp. So let's change this a little bit. And let's go and find the relative minor. So the parallel minor, E minor. Well, E minor, we have a whole tone here. Let's get rid of the key signature. We don't really need it if we have the accidentals on the notes in anyway. So let's do E minor. Now, E minor, we have a whole tone between 1 and 2, but we want a semitone between 2 and 3. So let's just do a regular E, whole tone between A and B, whole tone between G and A, 3 and 4, whole tone between 4 and 5, A and B. So far we have whole tone, we want a semitone between 5 and 6, and between B and C sharp, we have a whole tone, because we can fit a note in between that. So let's do a semitone between B and C, and then a whole tone between C and D, and a whole tone between the 7th and the 8th. So we have that half step between 2 and 3, half step between 5 and 6. So that's our natural minor. Let's make a harmonic minor by raising the 7th scale degree. And you remember, we get that large leap between C and D sharp now, that augmented second. Okay, but some people don't like that large leap, so they also raise the 6th scale degree. So they make lay, la, and te, t, subtonic to leading tone. And on the way, and let's see how that sounds. But on the way down, they put it back. So we're lowering back our 6th and 7th scale degrees back to where they were when we started. So the only sharps and flats which came with our scale is F sharp. So let's see. Raised 6, raised 7th, tonic, and then lowered back to normal 7th, back to normal 6th. So there you go. There's a major, natural minor, and the melodic minor. So again, if you have questions, please ask them below or send me an email, whatever you want. Watch this later. Anyway, hope that was helpful. And as always, I enjoy doing these things, but it's always nicer if I have someone who has a question or there's some specific thing I could answer, because then I don't rattle on like this. Anyway, have a good summer. Hopefully you're all enjoying yourself, and thanks for your patience while I've been away.